farmhouses, there was a channel, and a small street, and I had basically two directions to go on that street. And I chose one randomly. I had no idea where I'm going. But I had to do something. It was also starting to get quite cold. And I keep on walking. I even tried at one of the farmhouses to knock. Maybe I thought somebody will answer and will help me out to at least call a cab or something. Didn't happen. It was also, I think, quite late. It was probably like 5 a.m. in the morning. And I keep on walking on this road. Eventually, I reach, I think it was North Amsterdam side. And I start recognizing things a bit, and I was like, oh, okay, I know about where I am. I'll just try to keep the direction, and I'll probably get to Central. I asked somebody at the bus station. He told me where a bit to go. I managed to get in the train. I go home. I was living at the time in, don't mind the pronunciation, it's Kohanzan or something like that. Yeah.
Kohanzan.
Yes. Yeah, it's close to the windmills. Just like so I went there by train with the first train in the morning. I arrived home, and while I was trying to get my phone to work, because I thought, I'm not going to work, it's already too late, that I was thinking like how to send a message, and I was keep trying to make my phone to work, and while doing that, I fell asleep. So I did. A few hours later, I wake up with hard banging in the door. It was, I think, 10 a.m. And I heard this like loud banging. I go to the door, and I open the door, and there were like two police guys. I was like, oh shit. So like, I'm looking at them. They look at me and say like, do you know somebody with the name Stefan? I was like, yes, that's me. Oops. Yeah, that was a bit my reaction. And I was watching them like that, and they had like this surprise face when I said that that's me. They're like, do you have any identification? I was like, sure. I looked for some ID. I gave them the stuff. While they was checking, they go like, okay, so do you know where your bike is? I was like, oh, and then my memory started coming back a bit, and I was like, oh yeah, I did go with a bike to my friend's house. So like, I was starting to patch everything together. I was like, I did have some mud in the pocket. Like, shit, I was wet. Like, is it in a channel somewhere? And the guys go like, yeah, we found your bike. It was in a channel. I was like, crap. It was like, and then the problem was, they said that my office called them because the bike that I had was rented. It was one of the Olifits. And it was rented with a card from the company. So when they found out who rented it, they eventually ended up and they called my company. Now you can imagine when the office manager there got the call from the police. Said, hey, we found this bike. It was in a channel. Like, the guy said, like, usually when we find bikes that are in a channel, we don't go to people like to find the owner of the bike. We're just there to announce the fact that we found the bike, and usually we don't find the person. So you probably should call your company and talk with them. So yeah, it was quite a hard thing to do actually, because then I realized that my phone wasn't working because it was out of battery. It was sunken in water, so it was dead. And I was in the situation that I didn't have any way to call or to talk with people at my office. So the first thing I did, I got dressed and I went to the office, because I tried to give one of my colleagues a message on PlayStation, but I don't know what I was thinking. But that was the only way I could contact at the time. I got to the office, and I got quite a warm welcome. The police actually, they talked before with them and they told that I'm okay. And then I get a bit the news, how it was there on their side. They felt like I was dead. They're already like making the assumptions, because they knew I had a bit to drink, and they knew I went by bike home. And then they saw like the bike was in the channel, they kind of connected the two. Like, yeah, that was the last time we saw him. And yeah, eventually everything was fine, but of course they had to make a bit of fun. So one of my colleagues, because it just so happened that I did lose another bike before, but that was a different occasion and I lost it in Almere. So he made a map with like where it is from the office and my place, and said like, okay, this going to Almere is wrong, this time was toward Purmerend. And I was like, that's wrong, so this is your home. And yeah, that was my story about, for people that maybe try to integrate too much, maybe you'll learn your lessons regarding drinking and biking. Doesn't go by.
Another round of applause for you.